Okay, friends. So last time we talked about the importance of receivables and how are we going to manage that and how to form teams. So let's take it a little bit ahead now, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what receivables means from the accounts angle. So basically, receivables are assets, right? That's your cash which is sitting with the customer. So it's not your fixed asset, it's not your plant and machinery, it's not your buildings, it's your current assets. So the cash sitting with the customer is a receivable, and that is called as a current asset. And further, if the cash is going to come quickly, it is called as liquid asset. And some people, if the cash is, like for example, going to come in next fortnight, it's called as quick asset. So whether you call it quick asset or current asset or liquid asset, whatever, it's an asset which sits on the asset side of the balance sheet, and therefore it's important for you to have it. Now, a very important thing which you must learn, and you must imbibe this in your mind and blood, so to say, is that selling is important, right? But having sales, that means having top line, is vanity. You feel great about it, right? We have done so much sales, 500 crores, 1000 crores, etc. So sales is vanity. Profit or bottom line is sanity. You understand? Sanity means wiseness. Cash in bank is reality. So top line is vanity, bottom line is sanity, cash in bank is reality. And that's what actually matters. When people say cash is king, that's what matters. So coming back to therefore receivables, why you need to collect it? Because you want that cash back in your bank. Don't get fooled by the customer being very pally friendly with you and saying क्या बात है सर, आपके बैंक में पड़ा या मेरे बैंक में पड़ा, एक ही बात है. No, एक ही बात है तो फिर मेरे बैंक में पड़ने दो वो पैसा. Let my money be in my bank and not your bank if it's the same baat. So now, talking about how do you get that receivables into your banks. What you need to do is, if the receivables are pretty big, in one of my companies, I declared a war. As a CEO, I said, listen, this is a war. People said, what is war? I said, war is WAR, war against receivables. So war is WAR, war against receivables, and all of you must wage a war against your receivables. How do you do that? As I said, you will form a team, but the first thing that you will ask your finance or accounts guy is to give you a full list of receivables, which is very well made. Not only client wise, but that's on the y axis, but on the x axis, what you have is the age of the receivables, right? So, suppose you invoiced it last month, that receivable will go and sit, and you are not received that money, that receivable will go and sit into 0 to 30 days. Last to last month will sit into 30 to 60 days, like that, 60 to 90. So you classify your receivables age wise, so that we call as debtors age list. So 0 to 30, 30 to 60, 60 to 90, 90 to 120, 120 to 150, 150 to 180, and 180 to 1 year, and more than 1 year. Now why this is important? Because the earlier you get hold of your receivable and get the money, it is easier. The more the debtor or the more the debt becomes older, it becomes difficult to collect. Please make this as a very firm thing in your mind. Older debt is always more difficult to collect. So collect it as early as possible. Also, from a simple financial management point of view, money today is much more important or much more valuable than money tomorrow. Why? Because money loses its value because of inflation and host of other factors. So today's 100 rupees is better than tomorrow's 105 rupees, or tomorrow's 105 rupees. It's better than day after 2 years 125 rupees. Collect it today. That 100 is far more important. Now, the point is, if you have made that list into the aging list, as I told you, then don't make just a total list. What I mean is, a customer A, let us say, has 8 lakhs of receivables you have to collect from him. Within that 8 lakhs, you must classify which is invoice wise. That means, if suppose if to that customer you are making, let's say, an auto component industry, selling it to various kinds of Maruti and Tata Motors and Bajaj Autos, they make every day one invoice. Now, every invoice should have a line item. So every invoice is one line item, and all those invoices in last 1 month will appear in 0 to 30. Earlier month will appear in 30 to 60, and like that. So now you have done the aging analysis. Now once you have done the aging analysis, what you need to do with the team is to figure out, and you are not an auto component company, probably an industrial equipment company will have maybe one invoice in 6 months, or maybe 2 3 invoices in a year or something like that. So there will be even then a very good list of full Excel sheet, or for every customer there will be a page, and for in every page there will be line items which are done age wise. Now once you have done those age wise analysis, and once you have got hold of the ages, now start concentrating two ways. One is, your immediate task is to collect what is immediate within 0 to 30 and 30 to 60 days. But also make a task force for those which are more than, let's say, 120 days to 180 days, and put your efforts to sort out those issues. There will be, maybe in that equipment there will be some issues which are to do with the specifications, or as I said, some issues to do with efficiency, or you know kind of customer satisfaction not there, so he is not paying. Now, having done that, put your teams onto that. So for example, your after sales service team will go and fix those issues. I'll give you an example. There was a very small issue for which our sales guy was following up with a customer, and the outstanding was something like, I think, some 6 or 7 lakhs of rupees, if I remember it correctly. The customer was not paying, and after some time, when he went and asked him what happened, then he said, we have fixed the issue ourselves, so we are not going to pay. So he said, came back and told me, well, this, and the customer is not paying. So I said, how much did it cost the customer to fix the issue? He said, about 4,000 rupees. What was the issue? Some sensors and these things had to be fixed, and the customers fixes themselves. So I said, why you didn't do it? He said, why should I do it? It was not my mistake. I said, yeah, but your 7 lakhs of rupees was stuck for more than 7 months. You could have given away those 4,000 rupees and got hold of that 7 lakhs of rupees. So don't be penny wise pound foolish when you are correcting receivables. You have to make that judgment and see what you are going to let go. Now let me come to the next issue, and that is, when do you let go the outstanding completely? When you allow it to be written off. We made a rule, for example, that anything which is more than 3 year old and less than 10,000 rupees, write it off. It's not worth following, correct? It's not worth spending your money traveling to the customer, making phone calls, making emails, calling him up and asking him, rubbing him in the wrong side. Just write it off. If you're a 500 crore company and one invoice is not paid for last 3 years, and the invoice is 10,000 rupees, it's not worth it, believe me. So I'm not saying this is the cardinal rule or rule of thumb that you should take. You make your own rules of thumbs. But a write-off note should be very clear. What were the follow-ups made? Who made those follow-ups? What was the result? Why the customer is not paying? Is it our fault or customer's fault, or the rule has changed, or the law has changed, or the taxation has changed? Whatever. There could be 10 reasons for an outstanding. Make that, make that write-off note. Let there be an initiator of the note. Maybe that sales engineer make that note signed by the accounts guy who has taken the whole thing into account and done his corrections, that okay, this is really the write-off which is required for so and so rupees and so invoice, and then take the signature of the head of that organ or of that function, and then let the CEO sign. Now once you give this a fully signed off note with all those 4 or 5 signatures, the auditor is not going to take an objection, and then that write-off is much easier. So do that write-off. Do that write-off in a correct fashion. There has to be a process for write-off, and then that write-off will take all those small line items out of the reckoning, and your P&L and therefore your balance sheet will look much cleaner. Thank you.